Trust me, today's video is totally loaded and packed. You don't want to miss any part. First of all, you're going to learn how I made this fascinator base from the fascinator mat that was left over after I made this lovely fascinator. If you want to see how this was made, please do let me know in the comment section below. Then you're going to see how I made the back of the satellite fascinator, as in the design that you can see right now. Then you're going to learn how you can make use of a thin hot wire. You know, to make the hot wire fascinator, we make use of the 1.5 gauge, that's this thick one, but we're going to be making use of the thin one, so you need to see how that is done. Okay, so let's first of all start by cutting the strips that we're going to use to wrap up our hot wire. Now this strip, remember, if you're using normal bias, is like 1 inch, so this strip I cut it 2.5 inches, so that I will take it to I will turn it, I will fold it into 2 and sew it across with a sewing machine and turn it inside out to form the Ankara bias that I'm going to make use of. Okay, so while that's sewing in the sewing machine, let's get this other one done. Now here I'm making what I'm going to use as the loops that you saw at the back of the satellite fascinator, and this I'm making use of strips of the fascinator mat, and I'm going to be cutting small pieces of the Ankara. You can cut like 2 inches depending on how wide your fascinator mat strip is, and you fold it into 2, and I'm going to be sewing it like this on the strip of fascinator mat. Okay, so I actually cut out 48 inches of hot wire. Now this hot wire is your 1.2 gauge. If you don't know much about hot wire, you want to join our free class of hot wire, millinery wire or hot wire, you check in the description below. You would see the dventcraft Academy reception link. Click on it and make a request for the hot wire free class. Okay, now this is your 1.2 gauge, and what I did was I cut 2 pieces of 48 inches each, and now I am twisting it around. Now when you twist it around, what it does, that it makes this hot wire firm, like as if you're using a 1.5 gauge. So that's the first trick you get in this tutorial. Keep watching and learning. Okay, after I did that, the next thing I did was to join it. If you have watched any of my hot wire, you know that when you make use of thread, it kind of reduces the lump that you would have after you have wrapped it up. Okay, so it's ready, and also my strips of my Ankara bias strips are ready, so I'm going to be using the loop method to wrap it. Keep watching and learning. Now that's done, I take my veil and I'm covering it. Now, because of the fascinator base I'm using, it's not like your regular bishop cap, so I decided to make it a flat brim, because if your fascinator base is not so circular, it's kind of difficult to sew it around all those curvy types of hot wire crinoline hot wire fascinator. So keep watching and learning how I wrap it up so that it's straight and not curved. What you actually need to do is just hold it, no squeezing, just hold it in the middle and sew it down. Then you cut off the excess. Okay, now to the fantastic, I'm telling you, I discovered it myself. What happened was that I'm sure you've noticed that the background is not my regular background. Yes, because I had a 1 week training with some students in a vocational center, and they didn't get the bishop cap. Meanwhile, we had made use of this Fascinator mat to make the Fascinator you saw in the beginning of this tutorial. So I was like, what do we do? If they start getting in the market, it will take my time. So I looked at it and I was like, yes, I think we can form a Fascinator base. So that's how this actually came about. Remember, as they say, necessity is the mother of inventions. What you've been seeing me do right now is actually removing the thread that is left over from cutting out the previous base that I made use of. Some thread sticks out, so I'm pulling them out. That's after I've cut it into two, so it has this forming the strips that you can see. Then I curved it. It's of course it will form a shape because it was circular, to form like a curve, like a cone. So I curved it like. I cut off the excess because I didn't want it a big circle. We're looking at the shape of a bishop cap. So, and I started sewing it up and down till I knew it was tight. If you haven't subscribed to this great channel, I'm sure you're seeing the reason right now why you need to subscribe, so that you don't miss any of our videos that may just show you something you've been wondering. What can you do? This is what you have. Or what do you do? This is what you don't have, and we'll show you the way. Now, after I did that, the next thing I did was to take your hat wire. Remember, like in the bishop cap, you would have sewn your hat wire on the lower part. Now, since we have two openings, the top part and the bottom, you need to sew your hat wire up and down so that it becomes turgid and you'll be able to cover it well. So now I'm sewing it on the bottom side. Keep watching and learning. And now I sew the hat wire also on the top part. Now, if you're gaining value from this video so far, please do give me a thumbs up, and at the end of the video I would love you to tell me the various things you gained in the comment section, just to note them, number 1, number 2, number 3, just let me know what you learned. Thank you. After that was done, then I took my material and I cut it. I used it to like size it. I noticed there was this flower on the material and I was like, oh, if this flower is to just cover the Fascinator base, it will look very lovely. So that's what I did. I cut it, the Ankara, the flower on the Ankara, I cut it out and used it to cover. Fascinator base. Remember how we do it is we first of all put our glue around the Fascinator base, the bottom, and then you start doing your knots south, east and west. After you start dragging the corners so that it will cover up. Now this didn't cover up so smoothly because the shape is not like a cone per se. Is it a cone I should call it? What's that word to use? Anyway, if you know what the word is, do let me know in the comment section below. So that's why it didn't come out like smooth, without any curves. So what I did was to ensure that I had lovely pleats at the corners. Now, if you're gaining value from this video so far, please do give me a thumbs up, and at the end of the video I would love you to tell me the various things you gained in the comment section, just to note them, number 1, number 2, number 3, just let me know what you learned. Thank you. And if you haven't subscribed to this great channel, I'm sure you're seeing the reason right now why you need to subscribe, so that you don't miss any of our videos that may just, show you something you've been wondering. What can you do? This is what you have. Or what do you do? This is what you don't have. And we'll show you the way. So click that subscribe button, and not that alone, click the bell so that when a video comes up, you get to see it. And usually we do give some tips, as in some gifts. Usually we give some gifts every Wednesday. We've been trying to give gifts at least every Wednesday, but I missed this Wednesday. My apologies to you all. Meanwhile, there is a promo going on Crinoline Masters class, and you don't want to miss it. Did you know that the Crinoline Masters class is a lifetime class, meaning you pay and you get access for life? And why it's a lovely one is that the Crinoline class gets updated. Any new information I stumble into concerning crinoline, I get you updated on that, so you're updated on how to make use of crinoline to form various items. Okay, let's get back to today's tutorial. Next thing you need to do is cut off the excess after it had dried for a while. Okay, after that's done, the next thing you need to do is take your hat wire that has been covered with the Ankara strips, that has been covered with the veil, and then you sew it to your fascinator base that has been covered with the Ankara material. And this is the way you sew it. Keep watching and learning. So you cut off the middle part after you have sewn it. Your razor blade is the best to use, but we made use of scissors here. And after you're done, you sew your elastic band inside. After that was done, I took bias and I covered up the sewing inside. also took bias and covered up the sewing outside. Now make sure that the bias you use is a matching color to the Ankara material and also the veil. Oh yeah, see the lovely strips that was made. Remember this one I made with the Fascinator matte strips and the Ankara strips. Now see how they came out. So I used them to make some lovely loops. I sewed them together like so. Then I attached it to the Fascinator. What would you call this? Yeah, the Ankara Fascinator. And this lovely Ankara best-selling Fascinator popped out. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you would like to see how I made the Ankara Fascinator with the bolt shape, then click this next video up.